Shana, Africa, say it louder. Say Shana. Salam alaikum, assalamu alaikum, salam alaikum, assalamu alaikum, salam alaikum, assalamu alaikum, salam alaikum, assalamu alaikum.
United we stand, divided we fall. All we need is freedom. All we need is love. Free Africans free. Free Africans free.
Be free, be free, free from slavery. Free, be free, be free, free from slavery. Free, free yourself from mental slavery. Free, free yourself from mental slavery. Free, free yourself from mental slavery. Free, be free, be free, free from slavery. Be free, be free, free from slavery. Yeah.
We're here to speak the word. We're here to stop the war. We're here to speak the word. We're here to stop the war. We're here to speak the word. We're here to stop the war.
Salam alaikum, assalamu alaikum, salam alaikum, assalamu alaikum, salam alaikum, assalamu alaikum, salam alaikum, assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum, African one. If you wanna be free, the most simplest one in the world. Get yourself the reggae.
Good morning here in the US and good evening back home. I believe it is 5:42 in Juba and 10:42 a.m. in New York City. I welcome all of you, the viewers of Concerned Citizen of South Sudan, to our weekly broadcast. And this is an extraordinary program. Today, we'll be talking or addressing this very important issue. As you can see below the screen, my topic tonight: did the SPLM build a vibrant, modern state in South Sudan after independence? This is our topic today. So, my dear brothers and sisters, I welcome all of you. Ahlan wa marhaban bikum fi halqatina Concerned Citizen of South Sudan. I may look different today. I'm wearing just a white long sleeve. And actually, I wanted to tell you, this is the end of year of 2023. I want you to roll up your long sleeve as well, because we have bear a lot. We have bear difficulties for the last 18 years with autocracy in Juba, the Kiraterian regime that does not have mercy on the people of South Sudan. It is a time for all of us to roll our long sleeve and face the real fight. That actually this so-called Randit sitting in J1, putting the nation back, it need to go. And it need to go. That require all our collective responsibility of the people of South Sudan, young, old, women, men, religious leaders, and everyone, to put our collective responsibility together, so we can fight a good fight, a fight of dignity. Because these are the principles actually we fought for nearly 22 years: justice, liberty, and prosperity. We will always, always keep saying them, because these are our core values. There is no point for the people of South Sudan to be hostage to a one man. There is no point for a young, brilliant South Sudanese to be hostage, to be sitting, waiting a decree on a television, who can be decree in, who can be decree out, while actually they have that opportunity to form a government that they want, to have a viable state that actually we can have all equal opportunity. So thank you so much for tuning in. My guest today would be the chairman of United Citizens for Change, Ustaz Dengid Ayok. He will join me here in Clubhouse. And those of you who are watching from Facebook, please, I want you to go ahead and share it and share it and share it. So those who are not aware that we are live will be able to attend. And also on the Facebook, go ahead, and on YouTube, go ahead and share it and subscribe our channel, John Cormayol, so you can get all the new videos, whenever we go live. Please do so. This is the only way you can contribute. That's part of you contributing to share the live video. I understand there is a window actually every Sunday in Juba from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. that actually all the bundles are free. I know I was going to go and catch up with the bundles, but we still have a window of 15 minutes. That window of 15 minutes is a free. You can tune in your live, you can tune in our live broadcast, and you will not be charged with anything. It's MTN. So with that, I would like actually to welcome my guest, Ustaz Dengid Ayok. To start our discussion will be tonight. So Ustaz Dengid, thank you for joining Concerned Citizen of South Sudan today. The question that we are asking today is really clear, cluster clear. Did the SPLM build a vibrant modern state in South Sudan after we gain an independence? So with that, I would like you to open your microphone and we start the discussion. Dengid.
Greetings to you, Brother Jonkur, and thank you for welcoming me. Greetings also to the great citizens and citizeness of our country who have tuned the show to follow what we would like to say concerning the topic that is to be discussed in a while. In fact, the topic is very important, and it came in the form of a question. Did the SPLM build a vibrant modern state in South Sudan in the 6 years of the interim period during the unity of Sudan as one country, and also in the 12 years after we gained our political independence? This is a very good question for us to try to answer, and I would like to remind our viewers and our listeners that the question is judgmental in its nature. That means we are here to judge the SPLM as a political movement and a guerrilla liberation that started the War of Liberation in 1983 until 2005, when it signed a peace deal with the government in Khartoum. And during the time of the liberation struggle, SPLM actually came up with so many political slogans and so many promises for the people of South Sudan. They were talking about the liberation, that we have to liberate the country, and when we liberate the country, we'll do 1, 2, 3. A lot has been said during the 21 years of the liberation struggle in the bushes of South Sudan. So the people of South Sudan listened to those promises with great expectations, thinking that after the liberation, South Sudan would be a vibrant and modern state under the leadership of the liberators or the SPLM liberators. Alas, what happened since 2005 until now is completely a nightmare. The people of South Sudan are disappointed. So this question is an important question. And through it, we are going to judge the so-called liberators in Juba, in the government of South Sudan. But before we do that, I would like to remind our people that what is the concept of a vibrant modern state before we come to judge the aspect.
Good. I was going to ask you a question like that, but go ahead and explain it to the people of South Sudan. Thank you.
Thank you. When we talk about vibrant state, we are talking about a state that is capable of surviving on its own. That is the concept of what a vibrant state is in simple explanation. A vibrant state is a state that can have its sovereignty and it is capable of keeping that sovereignty. A vibrant state is a state that is able to manage its own affairs effectively until the citizens of that country feel that the country is really moving forward in the right direction. And also people of the world can see that the country is moving toward the right directions. If we look around in the region, you can see some examples of the vibrant states. In the last 20 years or so, we have a tiny country in East Africa, that is the Republic of Rwanda. Rwanda is a vibrant, modern state because it is thriving. If you look at it security-wise, it is thriving. If you look at it in the field of education, it is thriving. If you look at it in the field of physical infrastructure, it is well off. If you look at it diplomatically, it is well off. If you look at it also in the field of science and technology, it is also going on well. If you look at the Republic of Kenya, in terms of economy, it's going on well. In terms of security, in terms of keeping its sovereignty, science and technology, all those things. If you look at Ethiopia, Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, it is going on well. If you look at it in terms of security, it is stable. We all remember that in the last 2 years there had been fighting in Ethiopia, in the Tigray region, but they were able to settle that through a political settlement in South Africa, and now the country is back to stability. In the field of economy, they have some challenges, but they are moving ahead. So the concept of a vibrant state can be seen in such things. Things like security, things like running your own affairs effectively and keeping your position as a nation in the community of nations in the world. concept of vibrant and modern state also includes that a state should rise to the standard of the zeitgeist of the time we live in, or the spirit of time we live in, because we are living in the time of modernity. A state should come up, or a state should actually be in line with the spirit of the age we are living in. Now, if you ask yourself, where is South Sudan in the field of science and technology? If you ask yourself, where is South Sudan in the field of economic prosperity? Where is South Sudan in terms of security? Where is South Sudan, or where has South Sudan reached in the field of health, providing health services in order to ensure that we have a healthy population, infrastructure, things like that? What happened? That is the question we are trying to answer. I don't want to say right from the beginning that the SPLM as a political movement that was championing the liberation of South Sudan is a movement that has no vision and mission. I cannot say this from the outset, because we are all aware that the SPLA right from 1983 was a political movement that had a vision and a mission. It had a direction where it was taking the people of South Sudan. Throughout the 21 years of the liberation struggle, SPLM had been known as a political movement fighting for the liberations of the people of South Sudan and the people of Sudan in general, and everybody was convinced that indeed there was a vision and a mission. But what happened later in 2005, this is where a major change happened. After the death of the leader of the movement, John Garang, it became very clear years later that the SPLM lacked vision and mission. Although there are documents written with a clear vision, with a clear mission of what should be done for the people of South Sudan. But all that was abandoned. All that was not followed. And that is why we are in the state we are in today. Salva Kiir, as the president, chose to abandon the mission and the vision of the SPLM. Because under the leadership of Garang, everybody was convinced that something great was going to happen, that the country was going to develop, that the aspirations and the ambitions of the people of South Sudan were going to be realized. But what happened is shocking. Even today. So South Sudan is not in the state it is in today because there was no vision and mission. It is because that vision is abandoned. And it was not just abandoned, unwillingly. It was abandoned by choice. The President of the Republic, General Salva Kiir Mayardit, chose to abandon the vision and the mission of the SPLM. Because if you read the SPLM documents, for example, if you read what is called SPLM framework, or SPLM strategic program from war to peace era, if you read that one, you find a lot of programs that were to be implemented. Even if you go back to the speech of John Garang during the signing of the CPA in Nyayo Stadium in Nairobi, you will find that he outlined the things that the SPLM as a movement which was championing the liberation of South Sudan would come and do during the time of peace. All the developmental projects are outlined there. And all developmental project entails a lot of things. But after the death of John Garang Madior and Salva Kiir took over, Salva Kiir took a different path. Although he promised the people of South Sudan in the funeral, on the day John Garang was laid to rest, he promised the people of South Sudan that he would walk in the steps of the late John Garang. But nothing happened. He did not do that. He chose completely a different path. What is the path that he has chosen? He got involved into so many secret deals with the National Congress Party in Khartoum under the leadership of Omar al-Bashir. And many SPLM leaders are aware of those secret deals. One of those secret deals was that Salva Kiir actually agreed or reached a deal with the leaders of the National Congress Party to postpone the referendum, which was scheduled to take place in 2011 on January 9, up to the year 2017. And if you look into the details of that agreement or of that deal, the details of that deals were in his favor, because it entails interest that would actually that he would actually benefit from, and not the people of South Sudan. And so, when Salva Kiir chose a different path and a different direction, South Sudan, after independence, did not emerge as a vibrant and modern state. And there are so many standards by which a country can be measured.
Yes.
In order to reach the conclusion whether this is a vibrant, modern state or not. I have about like 7 of them here, and I would like to share them with you.
Go ahead.
One of the functions of the government, one of the vital functions of the government, any government in the world, not the government of the Republic of South Sudan, but any government in the world, is ensuring that the national security of the country is untouched, that successful government or vibrant and modern state can be measured. If we look at security today of South Sudan, there is no security. There is insecurity and violence all over the country, communal violence. From 2005 until now, South Sudan continued to be in communal violence. Sometimes it is a violence that is directly perpetuated by the state. Sometimes it is done indirectly, and sometimes it is done directly. They stir up violence between the community so that the community can continue to fight and butcher themselves in big numbers. Sometimes it is done by the state itself. Like what happened in Tony in 2020, they carried out what was called disarmament in Tony. And under the pretext of disarmament, so many civilians were butchered. 300 something civilians were killed in that area. So the insecurity that we have in South Sudan is an insecurity that is perpetuated by the state directly, sometimes, and sometimes it is an insecurity that is caused indirectly. They stir up violence between communities and then people kill themselves. And throughout 2005 until this time we are talking, our country has never witnessed stability in its totality. Some part of the country can be stable for some time, and some other time they are destabilized and killing becomes so rampant in those parts of the country. And this is the scenario South Sudan has been in from 2005 until this time. This is the situation we are in. And so one of the standards by which a vibrant and modern state is measured is the security. We don't have security. As we speak, there is violence all over Equatorial region. There is violence all over Upper Nile region. There is violence in Bahr al-Ghazal region. You have all seen, in 2021 it was Western Equatoria, people fought themselves. And then it went to other areas. 3 days ago, or 2 days ago, it was in Lair, in Unity State. A military confrontation between the forces loyal to the SSPDF and the forces loyal to the SPLM. These are the forces of the partners that are in the government. So a big fighting took place in there and many people died. And it is not the first time that people died in that area. People have been dying repeatedly in that area. And so if a statistic is done so that we can know exactly the numbers of people that died in that particular area, the statistic would surely be high. The same thing was happening in Tibo administrative area, in Pochala area, throughout September until October this year. It has been going on between the people of Warab State and Abia area, in Tweed County and Abia. It happened yesterday. Yesterday there was a heavy fighting in a place called Atoy, between the Tweed Tidbai and the Abia the Tweed Tidwing and the Abia Tidbai. These Tidwing and Tidbai guys, these are names of community armies or community militias. The one of Tweed is called Tidwing, and the one of Abia is called Tidbai. So they fought. And also a lot of people died. In Gogrial itself, the politician from the two communities of Wak and Kwak, they caused fighting between the civilian, and this fighting is started since August. And finally, the fighting happened last week. At the same time, the fighting also happened between the people of Gogrial East in the Apuk area and the people of Marialbo in western Bahr al-Ghazal state. And a number of people also died. When the governor, the former governor, the governor who was decreed out last week, when he attempted to solve the problem, there was shooting from all directions in the place where he was attempting to solve the problem. And so things ended up with him being the target. He was almost killed in a place called Matia. So when you look at security indications in South Sudan. All over South Sudan, the government of South Sudan has utterly failed to provide security, peace, and stability to the people of South Sudan. And so, South Sudan today, in the international indications, when it comes to talking about vibrant and modern states in the world, South Sudan is put there as a country that is fragile. Look at this word, fragile. We are described as a fragile country. In the international index, we are described as poor, fragile, poor country.
Fail.
And there were a lot of calls.
Fail, incapable.
There were a lot of calls that South Sudan should be put under the trusteeship of the United Nations because of this fragility, because of this failure of the leadership. Yes, Jonkor, would you like to say something?
Yeah, the multiple names that you mentioned, like failed state, fragile, incapable of their affairs, corrupt, very destructive. These are those the names that giving to South Sudan. Yeah, go ahead.
Exactly. Those are the names given to us in the international index when people are talking about successful state in terms of economy, security, in terms of prosperity, and all those things. Those are the names we get because we have been reading the international index that comes out every year, talking about the states, especially in Africa. You find South Sudan at the tail. And so this one is an indication that the SPLM as a liberation movement utterly failed to build a vibrant modern state in South Sudan. All South Sudanese should, all the people of South Sudan are aware that we don't have a vibrant and a modern state under the leadership of President Salva Kiir Mayardit. President Kiir has failed South Sudanese to the point that every South Sudanese regrets that this man actually became the president of South Sudan. Nobody is taking pride in Kiir whatsoever, because we have come to realize throughout his rule from 2005 until now that he is just there for the sake of being on that seat, but he's not there for the people. He's not there for the nation. He don't even have the ideas of building a vibrant and modern state in South Sudan. And so the SPLM, as a political movement, was put aside by President Kiir when he got involved into secret deals with the National Congress Party under the leadership of Omar al-Bashir. And then the SPLM was infiltrated by the elements of the NCP, and they implanted their own elements in the SPLM, and they used the internal differences of the SPLM to fuel the civil war in South Sudan. And indeed, South Sudan witnessed a civil war a decade ago. We are now in December. This is the month in which the civil war started in. In 2 weeks' time, the people of South Sudan, on the 15th of this month, would remember the horror of civil war and the people that were killed in that war. So the NCP infiltrated the SPLM, and then it exploited the political differences that were among the SPLM leaders, things like power struggle And then they fueled the civil war. After the civil war, the SPLM broke up into several factions. And remember, these are the people who were supposed to build the nation. The SPLM broke up into different political factions. Factions that could not come together again, although they attempted to unite themselves through the agreement they inked in Arusha by the end of 2014 and the beginning of 2015. But SPLM did not come together again until the moment we are talking. All the dramas that happened in Juba, that there was a reunification of the SPLM, were just the talks of the town. But in reality, there is no reunification of the SPLM. And the SPLM cannot be united again because SPLM is destroyed by so many things. When the SPLM came out from the bush and they tested the privileges of power, they abandoned what they were fighting for, and then they are now after power. They are after power, they are after money. They are after consolidating themselves in power, remaining in power. And so technically, if you look at the SPLM, you would come to the conclusion that SPLM even does not exist. And if it exists, it just exists by name. But it does not exist technically as a movement that is there with a vision and a mission and a program for the nation. And so, if you look at South Sudan in terms of security, the international indications tell us that we are a fragile state. We are a state in which violence is the norms of the day, like what had been happening in Somalia. In political terms, it is called Somalization. The experience of Somalia was referred to as Somalization. And Somalization is actually warlordism. You have so many warlords with different armies, and then they stir up violence, and then people fight and they kill themselves. That is the same thing that happened in South Sudan. Kir has his own army. Apparently, people think that he is the commander-in-chief of the SSPDF. But within the SSPDF, he created his own army, that is the Tiger Division. And other tribal militias such as Natiamanyor that were created, and they were consumed by the war in Upper Nile region in 2013. And today nobody's taking care of their widows and their orphans. This is the South Sudan we are talking about. And so in terms of security, South Sudan is not a vibrant, modern state. The president who is in charge of security, because when you read the functions of the president in the constitution, security comes as number one, and that's why I started with security, national security. So our national security has been at stake since 2005 until now. And the sad thing is that there has been no statistics of the people that have died in violence in 2005 until now. No statistics. Although we have something called the National Statistics Bureau, the National Bureau of Statistics, that is led by Isaiah Chola. It is a body that is in charge of releasing the statistics in things that concern the nation. But we don't have those statistics.
Yes, supposed to be.
My fellow South Sudanese, if there had been statistics of the people that died in the communal violence from 2005 until now, the figures would be shocking. Yes, Jonko?
Yeah, I was adding to your point that actually the National Bureau of Statistics, their ultimate job is, to know more about the population. Even people die, national death, war, crime, okay, and such. These are the things that they're supposed to be talking about. They're supposed to be updating the nation. In this area, this is what happened. The newborns, how many people, how many children have been born since we gained independence, the increase of population, and so forth, and decrease. These are the things that they're supposed to, but they have that body there for nothing, for nothing. Yeah, that's what we are saying, that this autocracy is not doing anything. They are just there to loot the nation. And the question is, Dengid, I'm sorry for cutting you up. The question now, my question, is not for Salva Kirmayar anymore. The question is for the people who are supporting him, for the people who are saying that, Randandit, for what? This is what I'm struggling with. Because now he has shown that actually he's failed and South Sudan become a fragile state because of him. He has not done whatsoever. Okay, his government has not done so whatsoever. But he wanted to remain in power until he died. He wanted to enjoy the red carpet. He wanted to be a head of state, to fly out and have a meeting. Even the meeting that, if he's giving an opportunity to speak, is still going to embarrass us. It's still going to say things that they are not supposed to be saying. He struggle reading. He struggle talking. He struggle walking. He struggle movement. He struggle with everything. But yet, they are young, intellectual South Sudanese, particularly from our region of Bahr al-Ghazal, particularly from the Dinkas, are still supporting this old man who has nothing to offer except to keep people hostage and loot the wealth of the nation and make us suffer forever and ever. So that's my question always, why? And why you young South Sudanese from Warab, from Medingawul, okay, from Lake, okay, the area that I mentioned, from Western Barkazal, why are you supporting something who is not good even for you? It did not make any changes in your life and your family life. In Greater Barakazal, nothing has been achieved. While his children are enjoying. He's hiring his son as a deputy finance in J1. And his daughter, Adut, actually she has a company, okay, for custom clearance. Takhlis Jumruki in the port of Lamo. Anything that coming to South Sudan, Adut will clear it through her company. And then when vendors come to normally for custom clearance, and then the revenue authority, the custom, they will ask, hey, you need to pay for this. And then the person will say that I have a receipt actually. أنا انتهيت من التخليص الجمركي في ميناء لامو. And this is the receipt, we pay the money. And the money goes to a bank account. Imagine we are still supporting that. The young South Sudanese are still supporting that. We know that this family, they don't care. The Kir family, they don't even care about their reputation. His children don't care. If they care, they would have advised their fathers that actually you are creating bad reputation to our family and to us. They don't care. They said they're gonna live like birds. They're gonna live anywhere. They will fly somewhere. They can fly Malaysia. They can fly to South Africa. They can fly somewhere and go and live there. Okay. But yeah, my question is, it's for those who are still supporting this system. Ustaz Dengiri, I'm sorry for stopping you, and I want you to continue, please.
It's okay. It's all right. You are adding some important points to the topic, and that is welcome. And so if you look at South Sudan in the field of education from 2005 until now, there is no proper educational system in place. our own school syllabus has a lot of technical problem until now. There are no schools. A school with the standard of modern school in South Sudan are not there. And every year when the budget is passed in the parliament, when you look at the budget that is allocated for education, you would see and you would understand the nature of the state that we are in. The other day, or was it last year, when there was the 6th Governors Forum or conference, that the Governors Forum, Dr. Machar talked about education in South Sudan. And then the Minister of Education, Awood, told him clearly that our educational system is not in place because we don't have teachers, we don't pay teachers. And so teachers has abandoned. The teachers have abandoned the public school, or let me say the government schools, and they are teaching in private school, and some of them even have gone to work with the NGOs, the international NGOs. And so the educational system we have in place is very poor, and it cannot compete with the rest of the countries that are with us in the region. Leave alone SPLM government building a school in different states of South Sudan. If you look at the economy is also in tatters. We are described as a poor country. When we think about our country, the national anthem as land of great abundance, and indeed it is a land of great abundance. But who is benefiting from that abundance? It's only the leaders. It's only the leaders that are benefiting from that abundance we think about in the national anthem. And so our economy is not good. It was good when Sudan was still one country. But after our independence, we saw women spending nights in front of the foreign bureaus in Juba, in front of the exchange bureaus in Juba, and the situation continued until now. And so if you look at the population today, the population is destitute, the population is impoverished. We are in poverty in the ocean of wealth. South Sudan is an ocean of wealth, but we are in poverty. Economic prosperity cannot be realized where there is insecurity and fighting, violence. And it is this government that has programmed the people of South Sudan like that. The cycle of violence and killing, bloodshed. If you look at health, there are no health services at all in the country. Our people are still dying today of malaria, curable diseases like malaria, curable diseases like typhoid, and other diseases. Nothing has been done. HIV/AIDS is still killing people today in the country. Nothing has been done in the fields of health. If you go to Wow Teaching Hospital today, you will be surprised. If you go to Juba Teaching Hospital, a hospital that is in the capital, where the seat of the national government is, the services are not improved from 2005 until now. If you look at the infrastructure, there is no infrastructure in place. I don't want to go to other things like human rights, freedom, political freedoms, political activism, freedom to civil society activists to be free to move and to say what they want to say and to do things that they want to do. Because such things are not the things that can be possible under a tyrannical government, under the tyranny Salva Kiir Mayardit. And so to come to the conclusion, I would like to say that South Sudan, under the leadership of the SPLM, particularly under the leadership of Kiir Mayardit, is not a vibrant state. South Sudan has not witnessed the project of building a vibrant modern state in South Sudan. Our security is fragile. No education system in place, no health services provided, no economy, no infrastructure, no human right, no respect for human rights, no respect for all rights that are supposed to be guaranteed to the population in a vibrant modern state. And so we are even ashamed to use the word vibrance and modern because they are not applicable to the current state that we have in South Sudan. Democracy is not there. All those things, those political issues are not there. Now let me come to the point you mentioned, Brother Jonko. The question now is no longer about Salva Kiir Mayardit being in power, because he has been there, and we know that he has failed. And we know that he is now embarrassing the Republic of South Sudan in the international forums, starting from the UN General Assembly, going all the way to Russia, all the way to Tanzania last week, and now in Dubai. I haven't yet seen the video. There are a lot of glitches in his speeches. And these are indications that he is not capable of running the state. His personal well-being, his health is not okay. And last time we talked about this, we told those people around the president that you guys, it is clear that you are waiting for this man to collapse publicly in front of the people. Because what happened during the opening of the road in Turkey last year is an indication that something more shocking is going to happen. They are waiting for the president to collapse. And South Sudan is becoming a state that is being mocked regionally. Because after what happened in Tanzania last week, we saw the cartoon. And the cartoon, Brother Jonkor, that cartoon by Spear, by the cartoonist called Spear.
Yes.
Is a cartoon that is not just mocking the president, but it is a cartoon that has actually diagnosed the mental abilities of the president. Because the president was asking, which country am I president? And the person that was standing next to him told him, it is the Republic of South Sudan, sir. So this cartoon is dealing with the mental capacity of the president to tell the region and to tell the people of South Sudan that your president is mentally incapacitated. And we said this several times. President Kiir is not mentally fit. He's not physically fit to lead the country that we call South Sudan. After he's here, after after all this failure, he is not fit to lead the country. And the question is not with him now being in power. The question is with us, those of us who are still supporting him. And when I say those of us, I mean we, the people of South Sudan, especially the people of Bahr Ghazal that you mentioned earlier. People are still supporting President Kiir to remain in power. And the people who are supporting him are people that we often describe as intellectuals. You know, their intellect is questionable, because if you are intellectual, you should have a conscience that the nation is falling apart, that the nation is not moving ahead an inch, that the promises of the liberation struggle are not realized under this government. So why should we continue to support such a government? Why should we continue to support President Kiir? These are some questions intellectuals should ask themselves and try to find answers. The moment you begin to ask these questions, the moment you see things not going the way they are supposed to, and then you question and you make brainstorming within your mental sky, you will begin now to be nationally sober. You will begin now to be sober. And you will begin to think of change, and you will become a part of change that we want to see in the Republic of South Sudan. And the communities, Ejima. Communities should not continue to support President Kiir. Even if you know that he comes from your community, don't support him because he's coming from your community. Support him because you see that he is doing something for the nation. And so he's not doing anything for the nation. Why should you support him? Support based on emotions. Support, political support, based on belonging to the same community. It cannot be a support. Base your support on what the ruler is doing, on the program that are being implemented, on the ideas that unite people.
Yes.
A political support should be based on these things. Gone are the days on which political support is based on belonging to the same community, belonging to the same tribe, belonging to the same region. Because that's why change cannot be realized in South Sudan, because we are supporting political leaders based on these things. The political support should be based on ideas, on programs. The moment we give up supporting our political leaders based on these things, that's the moment change will begin to happen until it is realized in South Sudan. So you, the intellectual, المثقفين بتاع المجتمعات المختلفة ديل، يا أخي stop supporting the president based on انتوا جايين من مجتمع واحد سوا. Stop supporting the president because he is your uncle ولا هو رانديد بتاعك. لأنه رانديد أسمع شفت يا جونكور the word رانديد ذات كلمة بتاع رانديد ده. رانديد mean big man. And it is a title of respect for age and wisdom, as you said it yesterday. When you call somebody Randy, it is a title that you are giving to him or to her for the respect of age, his age or her age, and then the wisdom that he has as Randy, elder, as an elder. لكن مشكلة the title Randy or Zol Kebir زي ما بقول في جوبا قاعد زول كبير. This title that is abused.
Yeah,
it is abused and it is completely taken out of its real context. It is not being used contextually. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that point. You know, the word Randy. Actually, you put it correctly. Randit actually has two meaning in Dinka. The obvious meaning, Randit, which is mean that old person, Randit, Tengdit, whatever, when somebody get old. But Randit can be given to a young person also. And the reason why the name Randit or the nickname Randit can be given, the title Randit can be given to a young person, is the way, he does things. When he's clever, when he's smart, when he's a person that genuine, when the person that have a wisdom, then he can get Randit, And I bet Dengdit Ayok, when your family call you Dengdit, they didn't call you from a blue. Okay, I know for sure they did not call you from a blue. The people live with you. When they call you Dengdit, you are younger. Okay, you are not even, you didn't reach 40s yet. You are younger, but the title ran Dengdit Ayok, they were giving to you because of the way you interact with adults. They see, oh, your brain is bigger and you have a wisdom and you are actually genuine, and the way you're dealing with people. That's why you get that. The same thing, I have my own uncle. It was my mother, and then there is other two, and then he's number 4. Okay, the chiefdom, most of the time people choose somebody who's really good, to be chief. My uncle actually was chosen, and he's younger. And then there is a lot. He has his 2 brothers are older than him, and then there is others, cousins, and others within the clan of Perek, in Gumbuer. And he was chosen actually. His name is Lual. But since he was young, they call him Lualdit. Right? My mother, she's the only girl in her family. She doesn't have sisters. Thank God now I have more, I have more girls, in my family. Okay? So, and that uncle actually, Lualdit, the one that becomes, Sultan later, he took charge. He said, my sister, we don't have another sister. So when my mother got married, most of the time they send a younger sister, a cousin, a niece, whatever, to go with the arusa, with the newly wedded lady, to go and help her because there is a lot of challenges. But my uncle contributed and, volunteer. And he said he's going to go with his sister. And he's going there to work hard and help her sister. Because my grandmother, when she died, my mother was just only 12 years old. And my mother took care of them. And so my uncle Waldi, it was really generous, always in his dealing with people. He was also a man of integrity when he was living in Khartoum in his young ages. If somebody wanted to save money because people didn't have bank account, anyone from clans, actually people who knows, my uncle Sultan, the late Sultan Al Madwak will know this, Everyone want to save money, they would bring money to him, say, hey, Walid, can you put my money, because before I go back on summer to South Sudan, I want my money to be saved. You have hundreds of people come save money, and he's the only man, Zol Amin, Zol Quiz. So the reason I brought this example is because title of Randi is not giving to a thief, is not giving to someone who is not genuine, is not giving to someone who is going to loot, who is going to do bad thing. It's always giving to someone who is decent, genuine. And that's why I gave example that actually your family, when they chose you, they said, Dengdi, I'm not trying to make you look good, in front of the people, but this is the fact, and this is the reality. And nowadays, people say, oh, Randan did that. Okay, if it's Randun did, there's really any what is requirement with Randit, Are they in this president? Does he care about his children? Does he care about the communities? People are dying, people are killing. Does he care about a child that go to bed without food, a widow? Okay. Does he care about these people? Does he care about the entire nation, the well-being of citizens? So now you say he's Randy. What is the benefit then? You see, Dengdi, So it's not something that giving to a simple person. So we should not just stick to something empty and say that we are going to support him because he's Randit. You support Randit. What Randit is? Randit really wisdom. Randit who care. Randit who really want the future for the children. But Randit don't want it to die, and he want to be buried with the children. He want to be buried with the country. Yani Salva Kiir, we thought he want to die and he want to go to grave with South Sudan. You know the man cannot walk. You know the man cannot talk. We said this years and years back, and we were told that we are liars into Nazma Koisin, into Saharin, but we knew the man has no ability. He might be 75 years old, 78 years old, but when he walk, when he talk, is like 97 years old. Is that the man that can take the country? Leave alone his age. He has no ability to do anything. He has not done anything. Okay? If he was like 100 years old and he's doing the job, no problem. But he's not doing it. So now I tend to question the intellectual. Are they really intellectual? Do they have mental conviction? Do they have mental conviction? When you're doing something, you are a fair game to be questioned too. You are supporting something wrong, and you say you are intellectual, and you know something, and you know what is wrong and what is right. Then why are you doing something that doesn't make sense? Does that make sense? When somebody, earn a PhD, you write a thesis, right? You write a project and you write a thesis, and you have to depend that thesis that you wrote, project that you wrote. You have to be asked tough question, and you have to answer, right? So now you are intellectual. Now you depend what you wrote, because these you give really solid reason. What solid reason now are you giving to someone who's failing the nation? What? In Chipiot, it is all educated. What reason now are you giving? What solid argument are you giving now in order to say, oh well, you have an argument to make, and you are so persuasive? Which one? It doesn't make sense. That's why I said that their intellect, it can be questioned too. Indeed, you are right, absolutely. This is a matter of dignity, because we cannot live like this. A country cannot live like this. We gotta have feeling. We have to have that jealousy too. When you go to a foreign country and you see what happening. I was in Kenya, okay, last month. I was shocked. Country next door, the country that actually the directors, the governors, the ministers, the countries that they are taking their spouses and their children for their schooling. They are renting really huge houses and staying there. I was shocked. They see that this country is next door. If we have a very good tarmac road, it would have taken you from Nairobi to Juba 10-hour drive, because it take like 7 hours from Nairobi to Dar es Salaam. Okay, so the country next door, and they are seeing نهضة يعني مثلا في زراعة، نهضة في تقدم infrastructure and so forth. And yet our uncles, brothers, they come and they drive in road in Nairobi with this big, SUV, big V8 SSD. I saw them in my own eyes. And the driver was directing to me, oh, look at that big SSD. These are SSD. These are from South Sudan. Because they are part of East Africa. Now you can drive from Juba. If it's stability, you can drive to Somalia, you can drive to Ethiopia, you can drive to Kenya, you can drive to Burundi and Rwanda and Uganda, because now you can drive anywhere without being questioned why you drove this car without license plate. Doesn't belong to this country, because you are part of East African community. Dear brothers and sisters, I was shocked, right? The banks in Kenya, the money, lands, agricultural land in Kenya, that actually al-arad al-salih al-zira'a in Kenya are only 8%. 8%. 8%. In South Sudan, okay, arad al-salih al-zira'a 80%. 80%. 80%. And yet we are bringing food from Uganda, from Kenya. Imagine. Sukumawig or Kusumawig, all this stupid thing, you know. We are bringing them from there. And our land actually more fertile. 80%, we don't even need to, you know, to use 80% of that agriculture. You just maybe want to use 20% or 30%, and then you can feed all entire Africa. Look, Kenya now, they don't have any problem with food. They do not. And they are using this 8% only. Al-Arad Sahel is rather 80% only. And the rest is rocky and all this and mountain and, you know, some desert here, and part of it, the tourism for the animals and so forth. Like in the greedy. And that's why I'm saying that South Sudan actually is more than enough for all of us. It's more than enough, even for those Kir is giving with the smallest spoon and said, follow me. Can I bind up? You remember in 2012 when he went to Arab and he said that? That quite have been insulting to the people of South Sudan. It is insulting Zatu to Nazbit al-Warab. It is insulting Leawanchan. It is insulting to all of them. Because you cannot come here and stand before us and say, can I bind up? Bind but I shouldn't. For what? Huh? Gal can bind up. You see, when people are not questioning that since day one, means Salva Kiir said that. I knew it. That's going to be a big problem. You know, it is going to be a big problem. So those so-called intellectual, deep, bitter, they need to think critically. They need to pause and say, are we in the right direction? Really? For how long are you going to be in this? Now, we want to protect you that. You want to protect yourself. Because we need a system that can protect you when you are no longer there. And then you can get your retirement. You can be protected. Nobody can, you know, be hustled to you. But now you were there and now you are out. People can be hustled to you too. Kadish look like Bernabé Marial. They were there. They were defending. Now where they are, they get kicked out. And the interesting thing, Dengid, I'm sorry, taking long. The interesting thing, people always said, our president, the problem is not president. Those who are supporting him, they say that always. I hear it. The problem is not president. The problem are people who working with him. That's what they said. The problem is not president. The problem is people who working with him. Okay, now, when Kir hear that, he will go and fire people working with him, right? And tomorrow will bring other people. And then yet people will say that, oh, our problem is not a president, it's people working with him. And he fire them and he bring the same people and fire them, bring the same people. And the results are not changing. So can I tell me, you have a brain. If you have a brain, okay, these people are not they are the problem. And Kir fired them and they are gone now. And Kir is still there and the problem still existed. And he bring these people again and then the problem is still there. And Kir is still existed and the problem is still there. So who is the problem then now? Are you going to tell me again the problem is not the president, it's the people? Because the people have been fired many times. They have been fired many times and they've been brought back many times. And the problem still exists. Corruption still exists. Mismanagement still exists. Instability, insecurity still exists. So what else are you going to tell me? We are a younger nation. Atanyuwagatin said that last time. He said, no way, actually, South Sudan is not young. You know, people are not new. When people say we are a new nation, people are not new because you existed. South Sudan can not mawjudin. Maybe administrative Isim Republic of South Sudan are new. Lakin Intazarak, you are not new. You've been there. You have been fighting for 22 years. And you know what you have been fighting for. You are not new. You know what you were fighting for. Then why don't you put what you've been fighting for on work right now? Put it fil amal. Just put it in work. Don't come and say I am new. You are not a baby. You are not new. You see? Then it continue.
Yeah, thank you, Jonkur, for that valuable point. So our problem today lies in the people we call intellectuals. And so the intellectuals are required to use their intellect to see the situation clearly in South Sudan and change the situations. That is our message to the people called intellectuals. Amma tribal sympathizers del mind makana. Nehna gunalem kalam wada. Don't support a political leader just because he's from your community or your tribe or your region. No. Support, give your support, political support عشان في ideas انت مقتنع بيه وفي شغل قاعد يتم لكن ما في شغل يتم لصالح البلد. You cannot continue to support that political leader at all. كويس وده الحاجه اللي قاعد رجعنا. الشيء الثاني الناس اللي بيتمردوا ديل ناس بيعملوا تمرد ويشاكلوا فتره كده بعد زمن بيجي بينتهي باتفاقيات السلام وبودون كراسي وبقعدوا فوق كراسي خلاص قضيه انتهى. يعني مجرد ما ناس يلقوا كراسي بس كده يقعدوا فوقه القضيه خلاص انتهى. كويس ده يكون نهايه بتاع القضيه. ده يا جماعه South Sudan, we should give up this. The issue of fighting the government and then you sign the peace deal and then you are given positions and then that is the end of it or the end of the story. No. This is not it. Because if that is it, it means we are people looking for positions. And once we get those positions, khalas, we are satisfied. ده ما بيجيب تغيير بسرعة. Salva Kiir stayed in power for 18 years. 18 years without that انتهى. لأنه Salva Kiir بقى president بتاع South Sudan وبقى first vice president of the Republic of Sudan 200. It was in August 2005. في August الفات ده 18 years تم. هو هسه كده في beginning of 19 year حقه.
Yeah.
كويس؟ لا أيوه ما هو أخذ القسم كان نائب اول عمر البشير يوم 11 شهر 8 2005
وصل دنجي
الخرطوم. كويس ورجع جوبا ومشى ادو قسم كحكومه بتاع رئيس بتاع حكومه سودان الاقليميه ذن. فالسنه 19 سنه ده سلفا كير ما يقضيه ثاني في حكم يا جماعه.
نعم.
ده فضيحه لنا ذاته كشعب. ده فضيحه.
يعني
واصل جونكور تفضل.
يس انا ما في كلام كثير انا داير اقوله بس اللي انا داير اقوله عندي we have our brother Sadiq Sadiq Salatin from I believe so from the North Sudan who قال جنوب السودان المفروض South Sudanese should remember the 22 years struggle and that actually they should unite and put their hand together as they put it together for liberation struggle. That's absolutely correct. And he noticed that actually مشكلة في جنوب السودان وفي شمال السودان the people around the president. Well, Sadiq, you are right to some extent. Okay. لكن زي ما أنا قلت قبل yes نعم لو نازل around president they are the problem. نازل presidents قاعد يعملهم hire they are the problem. president بيعمل hire ينزل وفي نهاية will fire them بيطردهم. Now sincerely who is the problem؟ لأنه هو بيهاير people بيشغلهم وبعد شوية بيطردهم وproblem لسه existed. And then the problem now is not even people around him. He's the masterminded. The presidents are the problem. Another الحاكمين الزول الحاكم ده اللي هو problem. And that's why citizens need to notice this. لأن the ideas that actually أنا ما عندي ناس بيشتغل عندي ناس بياكل it doesn't make sense. He's the one that eating. He's the one that actually not working because he's the one that hiring the thief. If you are hiring the thief, that means that you are a thief. And Salva Kiir have many companies, more than 30 companies actually. But thank you, for your advice. Unity is paramount. If we unite, زي we united for 22 years لهدف معين for liberation struggle, دايرين عدالة والحرية والازدهار, we still can do it. We still can pull this together. We can do it. If Salva Kiir become our big enemy now, and why not? So thank you, for your advice and support for the people of South Sudan. Del point أنا كنا داير أضيف يا أستاذ دنجد لكن أنت واصل.
ده point مهم جدا. المشكلة ما الناس اللي بيغيروهم كل مره ديل. المشكله زاد في زول اللي قاعد يغير الناس كل مره ده. This is the problem of South Sudan. انا لما استمع للبروفيسور الكيني اللي بيتكلم دائما في القضايا بتاعت افريقيا اللي هو PLO، في كلام مهم قاعد يقوله انا داير اذكر به ناس.
نعم.
كويس. قال the curse of Africa is its own leaders. هو بيتكلم عن افريقيا in general. وقال انه لعنة افريقيا في القيادات بتاعته. ننزل الكلام ده بس في ساوث السودان. لعنة ساوث السودان ده سلفا-كير.
يب.
اللعنة بتاعت ساوث السودان الان هي سلفا-كير فول ستوب. يعني ما داير 2 3 ما داير له لفه ودوران. كير is a disgrace للساوث السودان. الناس يلفوا ويدوروا لشنو؟ أنا هنا بنقول طوال كير ده يا disgrace بتاع ساوث السودان. وكير ده يمشوا بكل طرق، يمشي بكل طرق يا أخي. كل الطرق يمشي. مشي قبل كم يوم هم قال في محاولة انقلابية وقعت في جوبا، وهم طلعوا فوق اليوم الثاني لما المواطنين المدينة كله بقت خايفة، طلعوا اليوم الثاني طوال وقال ما في كلام زي ده حصل. لكن في فضيحة حصل. ما في ضباط معتقلين يعني. انت اعتقلت ضباط ديل ليش؟ طالما انت بتنفي انه ما فيش انقلاب. والضباط المعتقلين من الاقليم بتاع الرئيس ذاته. من الاقليم اللي جاي منه الرئيس او من الكوميونتي ذاته اللي بيجي منه الرئيس. كويس؟ فالناس تفتح عيونهم يا جماعه، البلد ده ما ممكن بلد يقعد يضيع والناس تتفرج، ما ممكن. all South Sudanese يا جماعه people should unite for this purpose. البurpose بتاع change. People should unite for this. كويس؟ لانه ما ممكن السنه 19 الان بدا. كويس؟ اوغست انتهى، سبتمبر انتهى، اكتوبر انتهى، ونحن هسه في ديسمبر. 4 شهر انتهى من بدايه بتاعت السنه 19 للرئيس كير مياردي. دايرين نقول للجنوبيين انه السنه 19 تاني ما يقضيه في جيوان، ما يقضيه تاني في جيوان، يمشوه. ما ممكن يا اخي، صحته ذاته ما بيسمح له. الصحه بتاعته ما بيسمح له. والصحه بتاعته ده بقى لنا فضيحه في المحافل الدوليه يعني والاقليميه. فالمشكله في الناس اللي لسه قاعدين يعملوا سبورت للرئيس بالحجج الوحيه دي. الحجج الما مقبوله دي. الرئيس الفقير ميادي لازم يمشي. هو لازم يمشي عشان يبقى في قياده جديده قادره انها تدير البلد ده وتقدر تبني دوله حيه ودوله حديثه في South Sudan. And so that's why our answer to the question, did the SPLM build a vibrant modern state in South Sudan? The answer was no. The SPLM did not build a vibrant and modern state in South Sudan because the SPLM was break up by power struggle and it was infiltrated by the NCP, and so it was weakened and it was completely destroyed. And technically there is no SPLM now. SPLM الموجود في جوبا ده اللي جابوا منو لامبوس سكرتير عام بتاعه ده. The SPLM that is just existing by name. No SPLM. والSPLM ده كير is just keeping it عشان يقول للسبورترز حقه إنه SPLM is still there. لكن technically there is no SPLM. Because there is no programs that will دايرين يعملوا implement. ما في. So SPLM ولا هو الفقير they have failed إنه يجيبوا حاجة اسمه vibrant and modern state in South Sudan. خلال 18 أفتكر نحن تكلمنا كثير وأفتكر ده يكفي. أنا برجع لك المايك.
Yes, thank you so much, Ustaz Dengir Ayok. أعتقد نحن we addressed the question نحن سألناه today. Did the SPLM build a vibrant modern state in South Sudan after we gain independence? Of course, as you answered it, no, it did not. Instead of working toward principles والأهداف اللي كان قامت الحركة من أجلها, they, deeping in self and corruption and forgot the vision. So with that, actually, we answered the question, and the ball now is up to the people of South Sudan. We are playing our role, and we keep to play our role. That actually we need to educate people so they can ask a very important question, a question of their rights. Why did we fight 22 years? Why? Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
After you shut down the Facebook and النقاش ممكن يستمر في الكلاب هاوس لأن أنا بشوف من جبال في ناس قاعدين يرفعوا يدينهم هنا. It seems they want to say something.
Okay.
فلو ما عندك مانع خلي النقاش يتواصل في الكلاب هاوس بعد ما تقفل اللايف بتاعك.
Okay, if that the case, yes, we will continue. We will allow the continuation on the clubhouse after we finish here on the Facebook. Yes, the question has been answered to my viewers on Facebook and YouTube. That actually did the SPLM party build a vibrant, modern state in South Sudan after we gained independence? Did not. And instead, corruption, grand corruption, lack of services, mismanagement, insecurity in the country, and we still facing the same community violence all over the country, rampant, and it cannot continue like that, because we, the people of South Sudan, must stand firm that actually and put this to an end and say enough is enough, because we cannot be in a state of chaotic forever, because this is not what we're fighting for. We did not fight so we can come and have a country and then start fighting and live a misery life. So until here, I would like to conclude on Facebook and also on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching, and inshallah next week with another program in concerned citizen of South Sudan. Thank you and have a good day. With that, Dengi Ayok, please take it from there on the clubhouse, and I will conclude here. Thank you.